We just did a study on Malachi, and we started by the preface to give you an understanding of the era in which the events take place. And obviously it happens in the era of the Persian Empire. You got the king from Darius, which is, whatever the name is in English, Darius, I don't know, Koresh, you call Cyrus. Then you got Ahasuerus, Xerxes, and Artaxerxes, which is Artaxerxes, etc. And if you've ever dove into this and tried to figure out the order and the years, the chronology of those Persian kings, then I'm sure that you came to the same conclusion as I did, that it's practically impossible to figure out the chronology. Wait, who is the one that did this, and when did he come into power, and who's the one that did the whole thing with Purim? And it's impossible because the names that are given are like a title, pretty much similar to Pharaoh, Xerxes, Ahasuerus, Artaxerxes, different translations of the same name that literally means the king, like Pharaoh. So you can't really figure out who did what and when. It's impossible because we do not have enough resources, enough evidence, enough documentation. Even from the Persian documentation, there's some information that's missing. We don't have a complete line of evidence. And it's interesting to me how so many people try to use that as an excuse to dismiss the story of Purim. Well, we don't even know if that even happened. We don't know who Ahasuerus was. We don't really know. There's not enough evidence and other sources to support the story that ever happened. And it's so interesting to me because whether there are enough evidence, well, what is enough? There is some evidence written by eyewitnesses in the time. You don't have to agree with it, but the fact is a human being that saw these events documented it, and you have more than just one documentation. You have documentation on the Jewish side and on the Persian side, and of course the geological, the archaeological evidence. You have a complete pile of evidence from all aspects and realms of life. And I just wonder though, because, if you're one of those people, well, there's not enough evidence. So is that how you make your conclusions and make your deductions? Because if it was, well, that's fair enough. At least apply the same principle in everything else that you do and believe in. If you only believe things with concrete, absolute evidence, start to finish, well, then how do you claim to believe that 65 million years ago dinosaurs walked the earth? Or better yet, that the earth was founded 13.8 billion years ago, right? The Big Bang, allegedly. You believe that nonsense, something that was concocted in the mind of a man, that no man has ever been there to witness these events. There are no documented accounts, there are no records. There is no concrete evidence or anyone who ever saw these things actually happen, yet you believe it because some scientists said so, even though they do not know, right? I mean, when you dig out dinosaur bones, they don't come with a tag that says I'm 65 million years old. That is an assessment and an assumption that they assume because that's what they want to believe. But other tests show that it cannot be more than thousands of years old. They did found some raw tissue that still, wet and soft tissue with blood cells in it, DNA. That thing does not last millions of years old. So there is no evidence to support all of that million and billions of years old, like all of you godless atheists like to believe with your evolution and Big Bang and all that other mess. But then you come to this story, or even the Exodus for that matter, well, there's no evidence that the Israelites ever were in Egypt. Well, there's more evidence to support they were in Egypt than ever to support the dinosaurs walked here 65 million years ago. Now, given dinosaurs did walk the earth, we have fossils, we have records, but we also have documentation of human beings coexisting with dinosaurs before the first dinosaur fossil ever came about, which means that they did coexist. Otherwise, how would they know what dinosaurs looked like? You're so funny in how you think. You're inconsistent because you are biased, and the truth is you just hate God and you try to find any and every reason to dismiss and to justify why you are not righteous and holy and live according to His good ways. Any excuse will do, or non-excuse will do. You're just wicked. You don't want to do what is just and right. You don't want to humble yourself, be moral, be just, be kind, be loving. You just don't want to. And that's the end of it. You don't need any excuse. Dismiss the kings, it doesn't matter. Dismiss Pharaoh, dismiss the Exodus, dismiss everything. But you still believe in evolution for whatever stupid reason, because that thing defies science. I could prove the Exodus and the kings of Persia, no problem. It might not be 100%, but it's what we call beyond reasonable doubt. But you could never prove any of that atheism mess, because none of it makes any sense. It debunks what we actually see in practicality in science. You got two kinds of science. You got the actual practical science that you could replicate, and you have historical, which is just guesswork. You don't know. There's no evidence. You were not there. You obviously cannot replicate, and yet you believe in all that mess without any evidence and no witnesses. Well, like I said, you're just wicked and rebellious, and there's nothing else to it. You don't want to believe in Purim? Fine. You don't want to believe in God? That's fine too. You will pay the price for it. Not me. I did warn you. Repent or don't. It's up to you, and you will bear the sin of your rebellion.